Hey guys, welcome to the Money Mix podcast number 18. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm Al, that's Stan. Uh, we have three stories for you today. We're going to start with the first one, and it's about Apple and it's losing its $3 trillion crown as the sales disappoint. So basically, the company posted third straight quarter of declining sales and they lost their $3 trillion um, market cap. Now, Stan, what do you think? Do you think that this is like the time to sell Apple, or do you think that this is just like the sign of the times and it's just going to change back and Apple is gonna,
All right.
get its $3 trillion crown back?
Well, I think first, not financial advice ever, but it's kind of hard to say because remember we were talking about companies that have huge market caps and they feel like they're really safe to invest into, and they're not gonna really go down much. But the problem is that whatever goes up usually comes down, and with a record
Okay.
high, well, I'm just stating the obvious, I guess, but a lot of
Okay.
people might not know it. It takes a lot of experience in the market to actually understand what's going on. So reaching a all-time high of like 3 trillion, which no other company conquered before it. I believe Apple was the first one. It's kind of hard to retain that crown in a sense. It doesn't mean that they're gonna drop off necessarily and go back down to under maybe even 1 trillion. It's kind of hard to say at this point just because the economy is not doing so well, and the type of products that it sells are luxury goods. So I think that it might drop further, but in the long term, I really do think that it's going to regain the 3 trillion and go beyond. I just think that with everything, this is just a a down time for Apple. But
Yeah.
I am surprised that it's actually dropping in value so fast now.
Well, it's not really dropping in value. I mean, it's actually was at the highest it's ever been just a week ago, and then basically the reports were coming in that they're going to show again numbers that are not basically exploding further than they were. I think that this is a like literally just a hiccup for them because they aren't like, for example, you do sometimes say like they're a luxury item. They're not a luxury item anymore. Like in terms of, for example, iPhones, they have the majority foothold in just the United States. They are the vast majority of people in the United States have an iPhone. Not
That's
like mixed,
crazy.
not with Android, but literally. So meaning it's not a like a luxury item. It's almost like yeah, of course I'm gonna get an
But
iPhone for a new phone.
right, but I mean, people are used to getting Androids, and there's so many different types of Androids.
Sure, there are, but people
You know,
aren't buying them as much as they're buying the iPhone. Not even
yeah,
close.
that's definitely surprising. But another thing is maybe, people are not upgrading because, like, for example, I was offered to upgrade my phone, and I declined. You know what I mean? Because one, I don't need it, and then two, I don't see like a huge leap from one iPhone to another. There's another iPhone coming out soon, iPhone 15. I don't know if you know
Right.
too much about it. Do you?
No, I mean, well, they haven't even announced it yet. So I mean, everything that is quote unquote known is really just, you know, like just theories, basically, like rumors and stuff like that.
But
But at this
anything,
point,
anything you think revolutionary will come of it?
every single year that a new iPhone comes out, everybody is expecting there to be a revolutionary thing.
Hmm.
No, the truth is that there's never a year. It's always incremental upgrade. So it'll be faster again. The screen will be a little better. The speakers will be a little better. You're gonna have
Yeah.
better camera, things like that. It's probably gonna change because I think every 2 years they change the look of the iPhone, so it's probably gonna look a little bit different now. But that's pretty much it. like
Yeah,
I don't.
either like I don't know how to use the cameras properly, or that's a bunch of crock because like I'm sure the quality of the cameras are better, but when I take the pictures, like I don't know, I don't really see like a high quality result. Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I would
Yeah.
say probably you might be doing something wrong, just because their cameras are considered to be one of the best. But I think that, like, if you're really looking for the best camera, I think Google still, like Google Pixel phones are considered still to be the best. But
Oh,
Apple is no slouch in that. They're still like in the
wow.
top two or three all the time.
Well,
So
I just took a look at Microsoft, and Microsoft is at 2.4 trillion market
market
cap.
cap, yeah,
Yeah, and Apple is at 2.8. So Microsoft is not that far behind. And Microsoft is another company that has a lot of products. And on top of that, they have a lot of, well, they have hardware and they have software. And now they have AI. So maybe what Apple needs to do is to bring out their AI as well, right? What do you
that
think?
that's the thing that, at least for me, I can't speak for everybody, but that's the thing for me I want to see from Apple for the phone. I want to see Siri take the next leap and be the true AI assistant, so where you could actually talk to it and it helps you out and does, appointments for you and does everything in a really normal fashion of speaking, instead of going, hey, I don't want to say it because it might activate, but the
Right.
whole entire thing. But
Ex-
for me, I think that they're still in a really, really good position because their product are still beloved. They're People can't wait for their new stuff, and to me, I just don't see Apple anytime soon really suffering. Um,
but
even
like
the
but
Yeah.
but the question is like when do you like get a new phone? When do you get a new laptop? Because everything right now is more expensive, and people want to stay within a budget. They don't want to spend extra money that they don't have. I think that's also another reason why a company like uh, Apple is having issues right now. That's what I would.
I feel like I understand what you're saying, but I feel like that's not really the case here. The only reason I say this is this, because every company during well, not every, but the vast majority of companies during COVID really, really struggled. You saw Amazon drop by like 50%. You saw most companies like Netflix drop by more than 50%, and Apple was the only one that dropped maybe 25%, and then it just kept on slowly going up, 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 and then recovered, and then more than recovered, and kept on going up. So to me,
Yeah.
when I hear things like, "Oh well, they're like they're not doing as well or whatever," it
Well, I
I don't
mean,
know.
but see, the thing is, let me try to explain this. The economy is kind of like a plane catch up. You know what I mean? Like it's not like when the event necessarily happens that people stop buying something that they love. You know what I mean? Or can
Yeah,
afford. It takes time for people to dwindle down their savings, and you know what I mean. So there's
yeah, but okay, okay, but I don't buy that, because I'm like, the same time that Apple is showing less in terms of sales, Amazon is showing growth, and their market share actually went up. So uh,
maybe what I'm trying to get to is maybe some companies got really hammered during COVID, and the ones that did not get hammered during COVID are getting hammered right now. I mean, that could be also the case, you know?
well, I don't think people are kind of like picking like that, going like, oh, you
Oh,
know what? I didn't want to buy stuff on Amazon at all during COVID, but now I'm gonna not buy from Apple, but I'm going to buy from Amazon. I,
well,
I feel like I
no,
feel like that's not really the case.
it's not that. It's just like pick and choosing which one's more important. You know what I mean? So we don't know exactly the statistics of why certain companies were doing poorly and why certain companies were doing really well. I mean, when there was a shortage in cars, right? For some reason, you would think, wait a second, it's a pandemic, and people probably are not driving too often or anything like that. But people were buying cars over MSRP, right?
Right, but that was
You know,
simple. It's like because there weren't enough cars, everything was being sold out. There, like
sure.
salespeople weren't almost needed at that point because literally people were like coming in and go like, "Hey, what car do you have? This is the only one we have. All right, I'll get that car." That's
Yeah.
basically the type of sales that existed during that time.
True, and
So
the same thing with toilet paper.
yeah, yeah. I mean, people kind of went insane with toilet paper. That was a thing. But again, there
Right.
was just so many companies that during COVID that went down, and Apple wasn't
Yeah.
one of them. And I feel like this is just such a short-term thing. As soon as their new iPhone comes out, which is only coming out in what, a month from today,
But the
like
question,
as soon as that comes out, like people are not going to be saying the same stuff they're saying now.
well, yes and no. The question is whether people will upgrade to the iPhone 15, and the other question is why. What will it have that people are like, you know what? I don't care what
What did
this.
it have last year?
Exactly. That's
What
what.
did it have? No, right. No, my point is the fact that last year wasn't a big upgrade, but yet people still bought it like crazy. The fact that the year before that didn't have any big, like it hasn't had anything huge in a very long time, but people still
Maybe
keep on buying it.
maybe it's new clientele that just want to try out Apple products. They switch over from Android, to iPhone, just to see how different it is. Is it much better? Like how is it? That could also be the case. But yet again, how many people can switch over to Apple when so many already have, right? You're saying majority of the people who own phones right now are iPhone holders, right?
Yes, in the United
So,
States.
right, exactly. And
That's not
that,
the case in other countries, though, of course. I just
sure,
want
sure.
to
We're
clarify.
really talking about the United States, and
Right.
that's where lies a pretty big problem. Unless you're having issues with your current phone, you're pretty satisfied with it unless like there's some type of huge upgrade to the
There's
hardware and software.
Well, remember, there's
uh,
there's a whole lot of people that always want the new, best, coolest thing. There's always so they have
Sure.
millions of sales just on people going, I want the most current stuff. There's just like we're not talking about a little chunk of sales. We're talking about a whole chunk of sales. On
but that
top of that,
maybe
they
that maintains their sales, but I don't think they're gonna beat revenue based on like existing clientele who upgrades every year, right, or something like that.
well, I would actually argue, yeah, because remember, not everyone buys it every single year, right? So if they have, let's say, uh 70%, which I think it's a little less than 70% of the people in the United States that have it, but let's say it's like 65% of the people. They don't, like, not all 65% of the people get a new iPhone. So meaning if this
Yeah.
year, like, there's a lot of people that wait for the every 2 years because that's when they do a different design for the iPhone. This year will be better sales most likely than the year prior, unless the new iPhone comes out and it's just horrible or something, which that's not the Apple way. There's most likely going to be an uptick for Apple on this. They're probably going to show really nice numbers on it, and yeah, I feel like people are going to forget about this, that Apple went down, and people like, for
Okay, so
example, you did.
yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention, like you did mention, like they lost the well, like the $3 trillion market cap, right?
Sure.
And they were the first, you mentioned, to the $3 trillion market cap, right?
Right.
The one thing is they were also the first to the 1 trillion market cap. They were
Right.
the
Right.
first to the 2 million market cap. They were the
Good.
first to the trim
Sure.
million. Like meaning, like this is the company that has done one, two, and three, and most likely will continue. I
Sure.
don't see it stopping. I just see, and remember, you mentioned that it's specific to US. Our conversation might be kind of specific to us, but it's not really. Like Apple is a worldwide company, and there's a lot of people in India that are starting to buy iPhones. There's a lot of people in
Maybe fake iPhone.
contests that are buying it.
Maybe fake iPhones.
Maybe, but there's still iPhones using the Apple product. I don't know. Like,
Android. Not Android,
right.
sorry. The Apple OS, whatever it
What?
is. The
Yeah, yeah,
Apple
yeah.
OS. I said Android.
iOS, yeah.
I made a mistake.
iOS.
iOS. Sorry, iOS. Sorry.
Hmm.
But the thing is that in my opinion, I don't think that the iPhone itself anymore carries the 3 trillion market cap. I really do think that if they want to regain it again, they have to come up with other products such as AI. And if they want to continue to sell iPhones beyond what they've been doing, they need something new. Like you said, combine Siri with AI and have Siri pretty much be your concierge, where you can speak to it in a way where you're communicating with a human,
Yes.
and that AI is able to have a constructive conversation where it just flows naturally. And if you make a mistake, the AI, kind of like either picks up on it or ignores it, and still retains the conversation in a way where it does the task that you want for it to do. Because there's sometimes when I say something and I'm like, oh man, I made a mistake, and then I have to start all over again. You know what I mean?
Right.
Those things are a hassle. So if they can actually embed something like that into the next version of the iPhone, or maybe the following, I really do think that they will potentially lead the market again. Maybe they have other ideas as to how they can improve the iPhone. But as of right now, honestly, from my perspective, and I'm not like a hardcore iPhone app user or anything like that. I use it for really like basic things like surfing the internet and regular apps that I use.
Yeah.
Nothing spectacular, taking a picture here or there. But if they can do something spectacular, then yeah, they will regain their prowess again. But if they don't, then I don't know. Like other
I feel I
manufacturers
feel
could
like
be just as good.
I understand what you're saying, but I feel like that that happens every single time when they take, like, when their stock goes down a bit, people are like, oh well, Apple needs to do something big. Apple needs to do something big. And this is where I disagree with you. What did they do big in the last year?
Well, that's what
Nothing.
I'm
The
saying. They
stock
did.
went up.
Right, right.
Right. No, but I'm making the point that the stock went up even though they haven't done anything big. What did they do last year? What did they do the year before? Like, they haven't done anything big in a very long time. They just basically
Yeah.
continued coming up with the same products, just upgrading them a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there, and people just go, oh, I really want to buy this product. It's really good. People keep on saying good things about it. New people keep on trying it, and to say that they need something big or they're not going to do well, it's just I
Not
genuinely
that they're
don't
not gonna
believe
do
that. I feel like they're
no,
already doing what they need to.
not that they're not gonna do well, but I feel as though if they want to, get back to the 3 trillion market cap.
You think without them coming up with that, like with a new product that's going to
Right.
sell them, like make them $1 trillion, something like that, you think that they're not going to go back to $3 trillion market cap?
I mean, we don't know as of right now,
No,
but
I'm asking you
if
because it sounds like you're
yeah,
making a point that
well, if
there's no
they
way they
don't,
could get back to it, even
well,
though
I mean,
they got there without it.
all right,
They
well,
need a new product to get to it.
well, I disagree with that. They didn't get to the 3 trillion market cap without having an innovative product. They had a lot of innovative products.
Yeah,
That
but they've had the same products for a
sure,
long time. What's the new product they had in the last 5 years
no, right, but
that
that's what
brought
I'm
them
saying.
$1 trillion or
But that,
something?
but that's what got them there in the first place, right? Like nobody had a smartphone like Apple to do the tasks that it
When
had, right? Yeah, lately, they haven't done anything really innovative. There are other companies that may have done things that are more innovative, but they're not able to get over the hurdle. I feel as though a lot of people are putting their faith into Apple. They want for Apple to come out with touch screens. They want for Apple maybe to come out with foldable phones. Maybe
And
they
those people are they could want whatever they want. The whole point is what Apple comes up with, and what they've been coming out with, people were buying and loving for the most part at least. And
well,
because of that, they
I,
got to
I
the 3 million market cap.
sure 3 trillion,
Three
but
trillion, yes.
I agree with that. I'm not, but okay, look. There were a lot of people that love BMW. Hardcore BMW is the best, the best, the best, right? And for a while, BMW was the best luxury
But
brand.
what did they do? I agree with you, but what did they do? What did BMW do? They did not innovate. It wasn't that they didn't come up
That's
with a
what I'm
new
saying.
car. Wait,
That's
but
what
Apple, hold on a second. But Apple does innovate. I never said that Apple doesn't innovate. You're talking about a brand new product. Apple every single year, whether it's their laptops, whether it's their iPhones, whether it's their iOS or OS, all of their OS is constantly getting. So they constantly innovate. You're talking about a
I mean,
brand new
there's
product, though.
well, I'm not necessarily saying a brand new product per se. What I'm
Okay, that's the conversation we're having, though.
I
About
think there's a misunderstanding. I think
okay,
that
all right.
you need something new from a phone. That's what I'm trying to say. Not necessarily a completely new product that we haven't heard of, but something that like brings home, the gold in a sense for why am I going to use Apple? You know what I mean? Like, listen, I really like Apple. I think their iOS is incredible. It's smooth, it's fast. I usually don't have any issues, but the one area that I do is with Siri, right? Because
Mhm.
Siri just doesn't relate to a human being in a way that it should. And I get it, it's really difficult to actually enhance something like that. So what I'm trying to say is if they do onboard AI onto it, and if they're able to make it as seamless as possible, as though you're having a conversation with some concierge that will provide
Yeah,
whatever you need, then I think something like that is a game changer. That's what I'm trying to say.
but I agree with you. But okay, hold on a second. I just
Yeah.
want to mention something though. That is a really cool thing, except the problem with it is it has nothing to do with the new iPhone though. Meaning, let's say
But
let's say let's say that they do it. You can get it on your old iPhone. This is like Siri is software.
yeah,
It's a search engine basically,
sure,
right? So
sure.
it's not on your phone. So because of that, you could get it on your phone. I could get it on my phone without ever upgrading. So if they do that, we all benefit from it, no matter what phone you have. So I don't see that as the new iPhone seller. I think that that's just a really good thing that they should do, so people will continue loving their
Oh,
iOS. But I do
I'm
not believe that that would be a thing that would sell the new iPhone,
well,
though.
but I think it would if it's able to do everything that you need for it to do by just delegating to it as well. Like if you
No,
del
no, 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 no. Hold on a second. You're misunderstanding. I'm saying that your phone, the one you have right now, can't, like, meaning if they come up with the AI version of Siri, your phone currently right now, the one you have, should be able to do the same thing, because it has nothing to do with the new iPhone,
no,
unless
I'm saying
they say
if they replace
specifically
it,
you it only
right?
uh
That's what
with
I'm
the new
saying.
iPhone.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like Siri is enhanced in a way where it's able to do like pretty much almost anything within reason. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. You know,
Right, right, but I'm saying it has nothing to do with the new iPhone though, meaning it can't, like,
right?
they could do that service to all the old iPhones as well.
Yeah, but they won't. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. They
Why? They've done
well,
that before.
well, it's an incentive to get the new iPhone.
Sure,
But
but I'm saying, but if you do that where they everybody knows this is a software update, where
right,
you could just give it to everybody and you
right,
specifically say we're only going to do it, people are going to get really mad, and that actually will hurt more sales than anything else.
right. But I think they'll probably do it in a more clever way than that. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
how?
Well, they'll
No, I
package
don't.
it.
How?
No, no, I'm just thinking they'll package it in. That's all I'm trying to say with something else, and or they'll say, you know what, this chip is not able to process,
It
the
has
AI.
nothing to do. It's not if I agree with you if it was on the iPhone, but it's not. They're running it off of their own servers. That's
Yeah,
why if you don't have a connection, you can't use Siri.
yeah, that's actually true. That is actually true. I remember when I was not, because I never knew that it was actually on their server, but then a few times I couldn't actually use it on the road, and I'm like, what? Why can't I
Yeah.
use that? I thought it was actually a software that's in the iOS, and
Yeah,
yeah,
the only thing that they said is that your search results from Siri are on your phone, but the actual connection you have to go to their server. Basically, the phone has to go to their server.
that is
So
interesting. That is very
yeah.
weird. But
Anyway, I
yeah,
think that Apple is in no way in trouble. I think that this is just one of those times where sales. Remember, it's not like they're not selling or anything like that. It's that
yeah.
just the sales are a little bit lower.
But
And as soon as the upgraded new stuff comes out, people are gonna like talk about how, oh, look, it's doing up, it's up again, and we're gonna be talking probably in 6 months how Apple is at 3.2 or something like that market cap or something.
that could be, yet again, that could be true, but the market doesn't usually work the way that you want for it to work. There is always
Okay.
a chance. Well, what I'm saying is there's always a chance that Apple can continue going down for another
Sure.
reason, and just because it doesn't lose a lot of money or makes a little money, it could still continue going. There's like force.
I'm not saying this is the lowest it could possibly go. I would never
Exactly.
make that statement. I am saying though that like this is not a worry in
Yeah.
terms of for Apple. I
Oh, crap.
personally think that this is like just like there's no stock that constantly keeps on going up and up and up and never goes down. Every
Yeah.
stock goes down.
I wish.
Apple has just shown over and over and over again when it does go down, it goes down a little bit and then eventually
Yeah.
comes back up and goes higher than it ever been. And it
Yeah.
constantly set the record, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. That's
But
my
but
2 cents.
yeah. But I would say is this is not financial advice, but always, as they always say, if you don't know, then you should know this. Always buy low and sell high. That's pretty much it. But that's not financial advice.
Sure, sure. I don't know if that's. I I feel like at a certain point, like I feel like financial advice has to be real financial advice. Like if
Exactly.
somebody says to you like, like you're listening and somebody says, you know what, you should probably save money. It's a good thing to have extra money on the side. It's like you
Right.
just give me financial advice. It's like no, that's
Faster.
just yeah, exactly. It's just basic idea of just have some money on the side. Like that's not financial advice. It really is just the basic idea. So,
Exactly.
anyways,
Exactly.
um, all right, let's move on to the next story. What do we got?
It's your story. But
What do you
187.
mean?
Well, it doesn't matter. 187,000 jobs were created, more recently, and the unemployment is down to 3.5%, and it seems great, but in all honesty, like numbers are very misleading, and I think that the jobs are created are low wage jobs, and the unemployment is down to 3.5% means the unemployment that people have applied for with the EDD. So that's not the true unemployment. What do you think about that part, Al?
About the unemployment or the jobs part?
Well, I mean both.
Yeah, I mean the jobs that we added seems. I looked at the chart and it's on the lower end of what we've seen in the last year or so. So that seems like that's cooling off. The unemployment is low, and yeah, I agree with you that the unemployment is a bit misleading in terms of what it represents. Um, I do think that there's a lot of jobs that are open still, but they are lower end jobs. You can't, unfortunately, like the higher end jobs. There's a lot of businesses like like we heard of from Amazon and Facebook and all of these companies that are letting go, not in like not small, not a small amount of people. Like Disney, I think let go of like thousands of people, and it's just yeah, those
Well,
are the jobs that you're not seeing, unfortunately. Like meaning high end jobs, and on top of that, you have the the strikes happening right now with the
Right.
so
I'll-
yeah,
Dos
exactly, yeah.
blame the jobs lost at Disney to Dos Santos. So
Well, I feel like yeah, he didn't have too much, unfortunately, to do with this, but yeah,
fortunately,
Disney. Well, Disney like ha if we're talking about specifically Disney, Disney like really kind of like put a lot of eggs in one basket under Disney Plus, and unfortunately, it's not doing as well as they hope, and they spent a lot of money, and people are actually signing off from them, and
yeah,
yeah.
that's interesting. Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is that they make it seem like the economy is doing very well, but I think the reason why the stocks are going up and people are getting laid off and the jobs that are being created are on the lower end service jobs. Um, the thing is that a lot of these corporations are laying off a lot of people, so that means that their income not necessarily is dropping by that much. So the cost of labor is the most expensive part of the economy, right?
Mhm.
So, like for example, you have an employee and you have to pay them $30,000 a year.
Mhm.
Now, that's only one person. If you have like thousands of people that you have to pay so much money, then that takes out of your profit, right?
Mhm.
In order to gain more profit, you would want to get rid of those employees and replace it with automation. For example, like in McDonald's, they have or they will have automated cooks, and those automated cooks will replace employees. They will no
Sure.
longer need to pay somebody like 15, $20 per
But I
hour.
feel
You know what
I
I mean?
agree with you. I agree with you. But I feel like we're sort of going into a different conversation then, because I agree with you in terms of automation. We like these jobs, like jobs will go away. Like whether it's like fast food places, all places like will literally have that automated. All truck driving, like any car driving in general, taxi or Uber or whatever is there, all of that is going to be automated. I understand that, but for this particular case right now, that has nothing to do with it, right? So at the
I
moment,
think
there is no like automated job that's being like, or whether it's for fast food or whether it's for car driving or anything like that. So at the moment, that's
oh,
not the case. It will be, I agree with you,
well,
but
look, I've seen those robots that look like little cars, and they're out delivering food. I've seen that on the
sure,
streets.
sure,
You know
sure.
what I mean?
That's
So that
that's
is replacing somebody who's actually physically going to, but yet again, see,
but that's very, very, very
yeah,
small.
at the
You
moment,
understand? And
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's mostly in LA. If you ask a
yeah,
lot of people outside of LA, they don't even know about it yet.
yeah.
This is just an experiment at the moment.
But see, but the thing is that a lot of people, I feel as though there's a lot of propping up of the economy still at this point by people who go to college, right? They go to college, they get a degree, they have a lot of debt. That increases the debt, and that also kind of runs the economy because once they're out of college, they got the bachelor's degree, and then they're like, okay, well, I can't really find a job because the profession that I have is like art or liberal arts or whatever, some general degree, and they're like, well, where am I going to go? Okay, so you're going to go to Starbucks, you're going to go to McDonald's, you're going to go to these type of servicing jobs, or Uber. You got Uber,
I
right?
I don't know if people with like an arts degree specifically good at those jobs. I feel like
How
you could
many
probably
artists?
get a little bit of higher level job
Well, how
than
many
just
artists?
like a McDonald's with a general degree.
How many artists can you really have? Let's be honest. I mean,
Well, you went.
you know,
Hold on a
man,
second. Like
like
there's general art and there's art. Like
sure,
those are
whatever.
different things. Those are very different
No,
things.
no, no, don't get me wrong. I love art and I love people who make art because, I think it's something that is just unreal to look at something from somebody's imagination and all that stuff. But in reality, there's just so much art out there. And the fact that AI is able to generate art right now with
Hmm.
words, I mean, most people in the near term future, if not now, but I almost feel like we're being prepared for the fact, like, what are you going to do with your life? You know what I mean? Like, AI is able to handle so much of everything that we do day to day. It's like, what are
And
you going to
and
be doing?
right, and then imagine giving that AI to a robot, and then you have literally, basically, uh, you know, that machine could do pretty much everything.
Well,
You
yeah,
know,
exactly. So like AI can literally do anything, right?
but I feel like again,
I don't know.
I feel like we're going away. Like, I agree with you on everything you're saying in regards to this, but I feel like we're sort of going away because that is something that will be the case. That is where we're heading. That's very clear where we're heading.
Yeah.
But at the moment, that's not really
But there are lots of people,
why
but
people are losing so many jobs, and yet our
no, but
unemployment
they
rate is
can't.
at 3.5.
Sure, but people no, but the 3.5 is very simple, right? And that is obviously going to continue going down and up. So, look, if you have millions of people working and they lose their jobs, obviously the unemployment rate is going to go up because according to the EDD, this is how many people applied. So if less people are working out there in the field, then less people will apply for unemployment, right? So I mean, it's not a very difficult assessment to make, right? So that to me is kind of like irrelevant statistic based on the EDD. The real question is how many people are actually unemployed and cannot find a job. We don't know that statistic. There's a lot of look.
Well,
LA is
I
very.
feel.
Just
Sorry, go ahead.
one more statement. Southern California is a huge area, and whenever I drive, no matter what day it really is, I think it more depends on time. But it's like jam packed with cars. I mean, how many people are actually not working? You know what I mean? Like it's insane.
Right. Well, okay. I feel like it's not really like the question, to me at least, is not really the unemployment. It's specific unemployment that I question, because I feel like if you're on the lower end of unemployment in terms of like, you're looking for a fast food place job or anything of that level, like an entry level job position, I don't think you have to like struggle too much. I feel like there's a lot of openings for that. I think that like what we started a conversation with, which is like the middle to upper level jobs, those are the jobs where we don't exactly know, because there's so many of those jobs that are gone now, and I feel like there's way more competition in them. So those are the people
Yeah,
that we like. If you're somebody who is living in, and let's say you had a middle end job of some kind working for some corporation, and that corporation fired you. Now you try to find another job doing the same thing, you can't. I could see that person looking for a lower end job for the
yeah,
time being,
yeah.
and that makes the 3.5 that number. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that's that's where the issue comes in. I think that people are getting lower end jobs because they're having trouble finding the jobs they used
Exactly.
to have.
Exactly. Absolutely agree with you. And especially right now, with the economy not being so good, there's a lot of people who had IT jobs that were paying six figures and they just cannot find work. And the competition is so fierce that they're asking for more and more qualifications. And like, for example, I think my friend Farid, he told me that at a point when the economy was bad, and this was like maybe like closer to the 2009 time frame, where the stock market collapsed. He said that he was doing probably at least two positions, if not three positions himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're laying off people, but at the same time, they want for you to be able to do three different things. So three different.
Well,
So essentially, you have to have three different resumes in one in order to find the job. And you
I
know,
I I can't speak exactly for his position, so I don't know exactly what he did. But let me ask you this. So, for example, the people. Let's just use one company. Let's just say Disney. What What do you think the thousands of people that have been fired from Disney? What do you think that they can do after this?
well,
Like
yet
because I
again,
mean, the vast majority of the people that were fired were not snack people. Do you know what I mean? The vast majority of people were fired from like middle to higher level positions.
well, I mean, yet again, it depends on the position that they had, whether it was IT, whether it was in marketing, or so on and so forth.
It, it
You
it's
know.
everything from
All right.
special effects
Well,
to
see,
lighting to all this kind of
right,
stuff.
exactly. I mean, if you're referring to the people that work in like a creative type of environment, where they're a cameraman, or they work on the lighting, those, I think those jobs are, in my opinion, a little bit more difficult to probably not necessarily to obtain, but probably the pay scale, right? Because
Mhm.
if you're working for a major corporation in that type of position, where you're on a set, you're probably making a really good amount of money. But then when you lose that job, and especially right now with the strike and all that stuff happening, like what type of set are you looking for? You know what I mean? Like, maybe not. Maybe you're doing private video recordings, weddings and stuff like that. So you're not going to be making as much as you were making before, right? I mean, that's pretty obvious to me. So you have to get gigs. I think a lot of people who are in that creative sector are going to have to rely on getting individual gigs, like freelance work. You know what I mean? So
Right. Well,
that's what I'm
there's
trying to.
that, but remember, there's not enough freelance work though to go around. Meaning, especially in the field that they're looking for. Meaning, like if you're a lighting guy, it's like okay, you could do some
Yeah.
freelance works. One, you're most likely not the only one looking for freelance work,
Yeah.
and two, like you have to be able to do something else, and that's if you're a cameraman,
Yeah.
it's like okay, well you're going to be looking for the same thing as a lot of other people are doing, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
college kids that could do it for much cheaper and stuff like that, and here you are like you're whatever
True.
your mid 30s or something like that looking for a job like no but
Yeah.
I got experience.
But
It's like
see, but that's kind of like the issue with having a career. It's a nice thing to have, but when you go through a bad economy like we're going through right now, and even at this particular moment in time, it's not really evident that we're going through a bad economy, because people are not really talking about it in the news. It all seems fine.
right.
But when it's out in the open, like it becomes even worse. So at this point, maybe you are able to get something, but I really do think that a lot of people are scared at this point to lose a job. You know what I mean? If they have a job, they're scared to lose it. I'll tell you that for sure, because they
I feel
don't.
like that really does depend on the job though. I mean like
Yeah.
there's like doctors are not necessarily afraid that they're about to lose their job. You know what I
Oh
mean? Like
yeah.
this
Yeah.
there's certain professions that
Yeah.
are
But
like a pretty
those,
safe.
but those are like generational jobs that you might not have like thought before. Like, oh, you know what, son? Go into the medical field and you'll never be fired, or you'll never be laid off. Like, if I've never heard anyone say that before. By the way, you'll
Right. Well,
become a
well,
medical worker and you'll be a steady wage earner your whole life, son. You know what I
I
mean?
feel like
Like,
to be honest, I actually do feel like people have had those conversations.
eh,
It's usually accompanied with like hey, you should be a doctor or a lawyer because there are always professions that are needed and you're gonna make really good money.
I think
That's
it's
usually kind of followed one and like one together.
sure, but I almost, well, the one thing I heard more than anything else is that become a doctor or a lawyer and you'll make a lot of money. That
Right, but there's
yeah.
right, but usually I'm sure you've heard there's security in that,
Well,
right?
security, what I've been here is you could get a government job and you'll have security. That I've heard. You know what I mean? But the thing is that that's just like a generational type of thing because
I'm not
IT.
sure what you mean. You keep on saying generational. I don't know what that means.
Well,
What do you mean generational?
like it lasts a while, and then
Well,
it
it
goes.
lasts all the time. I mean,
I don't know.
when it comes to doctors, doctors have since it was invented, the
In the
idea of being a doctor, it has been around and doesn't seem like it's going anywhere anytime soon.
well, no, I think it is, but in the United States,
You think it's going away right now?
no, 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 no. I think probably the profession will
Oh, in
go.
the future, yeah, sure. In the
Yeah,
future, we'll
yeah,
have AI robots doing
yeah,
everything, but
yeah.
that's a separate conversation that we're trying to move away from. But yeah,
Right. No, no, but what I'm saying is in the United States, it has been a really good profession for a very, very long time.
I would argue in almost every part of the world, if you're a
I,
doctor, you're not a beggar if you're a doctor. Let's put it that way.
I don't think you're a beggar. Let me put it this way. I don't think you're a beggar. I think people are begging for you to see them. Yes, I agree with
Right,
you.
which means
Yeah.
that you're most likely making money. If somebody's begging
Yes.
for you to
Yes.
see them, you're most
Yeah.
likely you're at least mid level of wealth to high level of wealth.
Yeah, yeah, I
Depends
agree.
on
I,
the doctor.
I I agree with you on that. But yet again, that's like it depends, and
Sure.
all that stuff has different variations and all that stuff. Like now people are coming out of law school, and if they can make 50, 60,000, they're happy. You know what I mean? Like so, it could also be like that soon for doctors. When they come out, because remember, it's really expensive to actually obtain a license degree and all that stuff to become a
Sure.
doctor. It takes a very long time. So essentially, like, oh, son, if you go to a university and you attain a medical license, oh, you be rich. Not anymore, because damn, the loans are freaking expensive like hell. Unless that father pays through your university and your medical degree, we're talking about like probably over $200,000 if I'm not mistaken, somewhere
I
on
I
that.
agree, but I'm still not gonna say that if you become a doctor, you're not gonna pay it off. What sucks is, yeah, you're right. You're gonna have to pay off a lot of money back, but you'll definitely in your lifetime will make it back and way more than that as
I
long as you don't get fired.
well, I
But
yeah, I
anyways,
stress all that stuff.
I feel like we've
Oh,
covered
let
this
me let,
topic.
let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. In my opinion, I'm very bearish on jobs and salaries and employment in the future. We're talking about like not even that far out. I think that in 20 years, people are not going to be really working at all. I think that AI is going to take over. We're going to have universal basic income. People are really going to. It's going to be an interesting world. Let's just put it this way. Very weird,
Well,
interesting world.
well, I mean that's a very interesting thing from talking about the jobs and unemployment. But yeah, who knows? We'll see when something like that happens. But at this point, yeah, like we kind of made it seem that you know even though it seems like it's good news, we're both seemingly on the side of that this is not what it seems like, and it's a little bit more dire than people are making it out to be. It's
Yeah.
not dire, but it's just a little bit worse than they're making it out to be. I'll say it like that. So okay, so let's move on to the third story. What do you
Third
got?
story is California, and the amount of people that are moving out of California due to rising prices on everything, homes, food, transportation. And between 2020 and 2022, which is 2 years, at least 700,000 people have moved out of California. I wouldn't be surprised if it was more than that, but that's the
Sure.
statistic that we have for you. So, Al, what do you think about this? Since we both live in California, how true is it, do you think, that people just are getting tired of either living here or they just can't afford it?
Oof. Yeah, I mean, the affording part is, I think one of the big issues, as well as there's one element that you didn't talk about, which is
Fine.
the homelessness issue.
Well, okay,
Um,
I'm
there's a
homeless.
bunch of people who are not very happy with that. And I think there's a lot of people that moved out because they felt like they were paying a lot of money and living, and there was homelessness that was around them, and it was dangerous, especially if you have kids. That became, I think, an issue for a lot of parents. It became an issue for people who just started being afraid to walk outside. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but I do believe that there's like the affording aspect is something that is genuinely like a genuine issue, because if you're in California and let's say you are a teacher, you literally cannot afford to live in the city where
You're,
you work, because
well, on your own,
your salary is around 50, 60,000 dollars.
on
You
your own.
like you Right, on your own, right? But I mean that, yes. If you have a family and both people are bringing money, you'd be able to rent something. That's not a problem. And I mean rent. I specifically say rent because you're definitely not buying anything in at least in the area where you're working.
I
Like
don't even
specifically,
know where.
if you're working in LA, you are not buying a house in LA as a teacher. I don't care
Well,
if there's two teachers. I don't care if you married a fireman and a police officer. You're not doing that.
well, I don't know about that because what I heard is that police and firemen, they make six figures, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, you're wrong. Like it's
Okay.
kind of like there are teachers that get technically paid six figures.
Okay.
Those are the exceptions, the same way as technically you can be, if you're like I think it's called a foreman. I think that's their leader, captain, foreman, whatever it is, for the fireman, then technically he will. But that's one out of the whole entire, department.
Really?
So yeah, but like a
Okay.
regular part, yeah, but like a regular
Well, yeah.
fireman, he's not making six figures now.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I think they want to. Don't get me wrong, they want
who
to,
doesn't? Who
for
doesn't
sure.
want to? But the thing is that most of the areas in California to actually purchase a house or a condo are very difficult to afford, even in the bad areas, which is ridiculous, right?
Well, that's
You know?
that's the thing. But that's the thing that I wanted to actually mention is that it's like before, back in the day, where let's say 10, 15 years ago, let's just say that you what you could do at that point is you could, let's say, work in LA and then move to a separate area like Valley, like which is like 10, 15 miles away, maybe even less, depending on where. But now you can't
Yeah.
actually do that because the
Yeah.
Valley is just as expensive as
Well,
LA.
well, the
And you
reason it's almost like the reason why that is the case is that the people that uh, couldn't afford it in LA, they went ahead and they started buying homes wherever they could afford, and that created the increase in value, right? Are you there?
Yes, yes. I mean, yes. I'm just saying a little bit more than that, even though. That's what I think. I think even a little bit more than that. I feel like um, there's just so much money in general that what happened was you saw so many rental properties go like, hey, let's see if we start charging $1,500 for a one bedroom, will people pay for it? Oh, they will. All right, what if we say 1,600? Oh, they will. Oh, What about 1700? Oh, they will. And they just continue doing that to a point where now, even if you have a full-time job, even if you have a degree and you have good money coming in, you're still living paycheck to paycheck, and you're still hoping, or you're living with a roommate, and
Correct.
that's something that happens more and more often now at this point.
But
So
now,
I could see a lot of people going like, hey, I'd rather go to a different place where I could actually buy a house and at the same time work at the place where I want to work. You know
but
what I
that,
mean?
but that's also another challenge is that in a lot of other states, like here, well, there used to be a lot of work. Obviously, there still is a lot of work, but in other states, lower population, less businesses, and all that. Like if you move somewhere else, you have to make sure that you have a job to be able to work at, or else you're going to be in a bad situation. You can't just move out there and trying to find a job. So I mean that's also another problem. Is that the question is, are there enough jobs to support the population? You know what I mean?
Well,
So
not counting AI or robotics, I think that there's enough jobs to support. Personally, I feel like there's enough jobs to support. I
yeah,
do, I do think that it's not really the issue of that. It's that the jobs aren't paying as much as
right. That's
the housing is, and that's the issue. Because I mean, again, back in the day, this is like in our parents and grandparents' times, I guess. Um, if you had a job, it doesn't matter what the job was. It doesn't matter if you were a grocery clerk or teacher or a fireman or whoever. One person working would be able to afford not just rent, but be able to afford to put a down payment on a house and start making payments. That's what
yeah,
you were
yeah,
able to do, where you had a wife who stays at home and you were working, and it was just like, hey, this is what we're doing. We're going to work hard, buy the house, and our children are going to be able to inherit the house, and so on and so forth. But
like,
now that's not the case anymore. Now you need two people, just so like, well, I just want to mention, like specifically in Los Angeles, in New York, in places like this, where the rent and the housing is just so expensive that people are like, hey, I can't even like. I remember working back in like the early 2000s. I remember working with a woman who, for me, lived around 25 miles away. And I remember asking her, why do you work here? Why not go somewhere else? And she said that she can't because the rent was too expensive. And this is a long time ago. Now, and remember, this is 25 miles away. Now that number would be uh,
yeah,
more, like 50
yeah.
miles away or something like that. And
Right.
even then, I'm not even sure.
Even then, because like it's kind of funny that with every new construction of homes, the prices go up. So
Yeah.
let's say a construction project started at 50,000. Well, then the next construction place will charge 560,000. Then you know what I mean? So they
Hmm.
they they keep on raising the base price for homes every construction site. So it's just becoming more, and I mean, I'm sorry, it's becoming less and less affordable. And then on top of that, the interest rates are, killing that as well. They're really high.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you have taxes.
Yeah.
So pretty much it's like almost like impossible right now uh, anywhere in California to be able to actually afford a house. I mean, it's a beautiful place, but it's just like, how are you able to pay, such high price, yet again, unless you're rich or
But
you're making a lot of
but
money.
even then, like the horror stories are heard from San Francisco where
Oh, of
people
course.
weren't making like six figures, but were making even seven figures, and they were still struggling because they wanted to live by the means of like having the extravagant car, to have
All
the
right.
extravagant place, and they were
Well,
living literally paycheck to paycheck at seven figures.
Well,
That's
San Francisco is such an anomaly that you can't really compare it to any other city unless you're talking about like Beverly Hills or Bel Air. But the people that
But I feel
live,
like Beverly Hills is a lot of old money though. That's what I heard.
yes, yes, exactly. That's what I was about to say. That like those type of areas usually have really, really wealthy people that have generationally been there, and they just essentially just maintain the place. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's not like they're paying mortgages probably on any of the houses. And the people that move into those type of homes usually buy it for cash, so you can't really compare it. San Francisco is almost like a place that just got a lot of hype just because of, the Silicon Valley,
Hmm.
and people started rushing into San Francisco and buying up as much property as they could just because they could afford it. And remember, with everything going up, things must come down. And in the recent few years, the prices have come down. But the problem is that with so few being able to afford the homes there, the other people are not able to afford them. So essentially, where do they live? They live in cars. So essentially, they're like homeless. So,
Okay, all right, okay, okay, okay.
that's also
Instead
becoming
of
a problem.
okay, okay, okay. But let me say this. Okay, give me the silver lining before we end this like topic. Give me the silver lining of of the California. What's the silver
Oh,
lining? What's the good about California in a sense for in regards to this topic?
well, in regards to this topic, there's going to be less people around. So eventually, the homeless people will go with the people that got the hell out of here. So the silver
Really? You
lining,
think homeless people will leave? Okay.
I
Okay.
think, I think homeless people should leave
Oh,
and go
should.
with
Oh, okay, okay.
they should go with where the other people are going because there's going to be more new opportunities, right? So they shouldn't stay and linger around and just piss on the walls. You know what I mean? They
I
should they should, they should go along with the other people and settle down there, and
okay. That doesn't
maybe
sound like
maybe
a silver lining. That almost sounds like what you would want to happen. All the people that are leaving, take the homelessness with you. Just
right,
homeless people, go, go,
right.
go wherever they're going.
And no, but the thing
I can see
is,
that happening.
well, look, the more people leave, the less population, correct? uh,
Sure.
the less population, the less more homeless people can be created. The cleaner it should be, the more exclusive it will be.
So you
Uh,
mean prices will actually keep on going up?
I think the prices will keep on going up just because of the quality of the people will be increasing, I think. But yet again, we live in such a huge state, so much land, that oh my God. I just like, how can you fit all the rich people in here? Meaning, like, that would be
But
insane
but
if all
but
the
remember,
rich
but
people.
remember, remember, remember. I just want to mention. Okay, like you you technically can't put like you wherever there are really rich people, you need the poor people to do the all the other jobs, right? You can't have like, oh, this state only the rich people live
Yeah,
because okay, well, who's doing things for you? Who's
right,
cutting your lawn? Who's doing this? Who's buying? Who's in the grocery store? Who's this?
right.
So for that, you do need people to live who are in the area that are on the poor side. The
I agree.
problem is these poor people don't make enough money to live in the area.
Oh no, I
So
agree. I absolutely agree with you. But that's why in 5 to 10 years there will no longer be any homeless people just because of AI. AI is going to eliminate the homeless people, right?
how would you mean how would they be eliminated by AI? What are you talking about?
Well, there will no longer be needed. Homeless people will be obsolete because
What?
it will be obsolete. You can't sleep on the streets anymore. That's number one. And I think each person who will still be alive at that point will be driven into like these high sky rises so that the rich people
What
will
is it? Wait,
be.
what does all this have to do with AI?
Well, the AI will watch over these people. They will feed them insects, and
Uh, Let me ask you: are you by any chance watching the Terminator right now and
oh,
thinking
no,
about Skynet? Is that what it is?
well, no, it will be. No, that's actually true. It will
There
be
you go.
like Skynet,
Okay.
and yet again the population is going to be low. People are going not going they're not going to be any homeless people. From my perspective, they're going to be living in sky rises, and they're going to be eating junk. They're going to be on metaverse, and I think that the rich people will have the time of their life. They're going to be roaming around, doing whatever they want, So
So, all right. So you heard it here. California is the dreamland where homeless people are going to be living in sky rises, and all the rich people are going to be walking the paved streets without homelessness. And I guess the rent and the houses are going to be in the billions of dollars each.
no,
I
no,
guess
everything's going to be owned by rich people. There will be no more rent.
I actually feel like there won't be even rich people. I think there's going to be a rich person. Just somebody's going to buy everything eventually and just own everything.
That could be true.
Never know. All
That
right, you guys heard it here. Thank you guys for joining us for another podcast. Hope to see you guys next week. And if you guys could like and do all the other fun stuff, we really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Bye.